Hi, and welcome to Promo Insiders, an ASI Media podcast covering the topics that matter most to the promotional products industry. I'm executive editor Sarah Lavandusky, and today I'm joined by two friends of the podcast. We have Ellen Overcast, vacation specialist at Main Street Getaways, a dream vacations franchise in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. And we have Dr. Louise Jones, professor of hospitality and tourism at the University of New Haven's Pompey College of Business. So today we're going to talk about the state of the travel industry now that we're more than a month into the busy first quarter, and also about what to expect in the upcoming months for both travelers and those who serve clients in this space. Thank you both. It's great to have you today.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, thank you. So Q1 is a very busy time for our industry. We have people going to a lot of trade shows and conferences to kick off the new year, to see new products. And the three of us are in the Northeast, so we know a lot of people like to escape the cold weather, take trips to the tropics this time of year. All of that presents opportunities for distributors to serve these end buyer companies that serve leisure and business travelers. And actually, our government is also taking this industry very seriously now. And actually, last month, the Biden administration announced that Mark Keim, he's the first Deputy Assistant Secretary of Travel and Tourism at the Commerce Department. So now there's this formal acknowledgement that the country really needs strategy around travel. That's immigration and visas, but also leisure tourism, commercial travel, attracting more people here, supporting those who are traveling within the country. And also, data also shows that more people are using travel agents these days and will continue to do so even as the pandemic wanes, because they need help navigating a very complex industry. And that really became apparent during COVID. And that's also a great opportunity to sell into that space as well, to sell to travel agents. So Ellen, let's start with you. What is the travel industry like right now? What's kind of the general vibe around things?
Well, it's definitely busy. People are anxious to travel. It's been a while. There's been there's been quite a few people that haven't traveled for a couple of years now with COVID, and they weren't sure. So we have been, I actually am so busy right now with booking travel and cruising. Cruising is definitely on an increase, as well as Europe. A lot of people going to Europe, and I'm sure Dr. Jones is aware of that.
Fantastic. Yes, Dr. Jones, how about you? What is the general vibe around travel right now?
Yeah, I would totally agree with Ellen. I mean, people are just really excited to get back out there. I do feel like there's a sense, and it makes total sense to me, that travel agents are busy right now because there's still a lot to navigate out there. And, when I first started teaching, students were getting out of wanting to be travel agents, and, there were some struggles there. But I have 4 students right now, either doing an internship or working for a travel agency, because that is seems to be the biggest challenge, is people wanting to have some help navigating all the new rules, regulations, what's open, what's closed, where are the direct flights. These are all the things that we need someone to help with, even though it's available online. People are looking for that. Young people are ready to travel. They don't care about a recession. They will just spend differently, and they want to get out there. And then I would agree with Ellen that people are looking to rebook some people who just have not traveled in a couple of years.
Yeah. So Dr. Jones, let's continue with you. Where are things looking up right now? Like, what has improved? And what are the challenges that remain? Ellen and I were talking kind of off camera about this. The canceled flights is a big one. We saw that around the holidays, and a lack of flights that becomes, multiple legs of a trip where there could have been just a direct flight. So there's airline issues, but where are you seeing improvement, and where are you seeing the challenges still?
Yeah, so I'll start with the challenges so we can end on the positive. But so some of the challenges that you just mentioned, people losing their luggage, that seemed to be a huge problem over the holidays. Some of this still comes down to not having enough staff in some of these industries. They are still getting back to their new normal. Our industry is doing a lot of work to get people retrained, trained. The people that stuck it out during COVID are exhausted. So there's still a lot of management issues kind of going on with people. Flights seems to be the biggest problem right now. People are ready to fly, but they're so frustrated with, like you said, having not those direct flights are all not back yet. And also, I think people are frustrated when they do get somewhere and their luggage isn't there. They have to stay longer because things have canceled. And we're in winter season. So in a lot of the US. So, just when we get things figured out, we get blindsided with snowstorms and things like that. So it just feels like this poor air industry cannot, just get settled in terms of what the new normal is. And I think that's the challenge. And I think the positives though, are that people are ready to change. People are ready to get out there, and we are starting to see some of our restaurants reopen at destinations. So, you might have gone to a resort last year and some of the restaurants weren't open or some of the events weren't running. I do actually see more normalcy in that. Some of the big conferences are coming back. So yeah, we're definitely seeing people getting back into the workforce of the industry. And that's exciting because that means that the traveler gets to have the full experience again. And people want their amenities back. That's the one thing I keep hearing.
Yes.
They don't want to go on an international trip and half of the things are not available. So this is I think a really big push for this summer to get that stuff back open.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. And Ellen, how about you? The same. Where have things improved? Areas that still need improvement?
Same thing. The airlines, of course, are probably the biggest problem right now. But other than that, I mean, people are excited. Anytime anybody's been coming back from a trip, of course, I call them and find out what they liked, what they didn't like. It's been a few issues, like you said, like Dr. Jones said about staffing, but I think as long as people are going out with the right expectations, it's not 100% yet. It's not 100% back to how it was pre-COVID, but it's getting there. And if you go with the right attitude, you can have a great time. I actually have 3 new associates that just came on board recently, and they're on fire. Like
That's great.
they're just, it's so for your students, it's a great time right now to join the travel industry. People are calling. People that never used travel agents before are calling. There's a lot to navigate, and we have a vast amount of information. So
that's great.
Fantastic. Yeah. So Ellen, let's continue with you. What are travelers, what are they booking for leisure? I know when we had talked a little bit about cruises, and they're coming back in a big way. They were one of the worst hit in the very beginning when boats were like docked and people couldn't get off, and it was like a nightmare. But now they seem to be normalizing and returning. But yeah, where are people booking for leisure right now? What kinds of trips?
I'm booking a lot of river cruises through Europe. People are definitely interested in that. What I'm finding is people are taking their bucket list trips now. Like they're not waiting anymore. We've all kind of learned, like, what are we waiting for? Let's do it. And like Dr. Jones said, the younger generation is definitely, they're willing to spend the money. The older generation, we still have a little bit of, our 401ks are not as looking good as they did, but people are definitely willing to travel. I'm booking. Cruises are selling out. The one thing that I'm running into is people waiting. I'm advising them, don't wait to book those cruises. They're not gonna be dropping their prices very often like they used to. I think we all got used to that, especially when they first came back, when they started cruising again. But those ships are going out full. They are. So I'm telling people, don't wait, book now. If prices drop, we're travel agents. We can make some adjustments here and there, but don't wait. But yeah, Europe's hot. And just cruising in general. Alaska, of course, there's been people waiting for Alaska. So Alaska is filling up quickly. Pretty much everywhere. There's and a lot of last minute trips. I have a lot of people right now that want to go in March, April to Mexico. They want to hit the all-inclusives, and they just need to get out. Of course, we are in the Northeast here, so everybody wants to get out of the cold, as you can see.
Right.
This morning.
Yeah, and I think like those trips, when you're saying like people are taking their bucket trips, It's like for our industry, like there's so many distributors who sell like high-end items in those resort shops and things. And people are like, they're willing to spend a little more for those high-end souvenirs, right? Like drinkware and tote bags and sustainable items. And like they're willing to spend more. And I think distributors should be aware of that and be ready to pitch like nice items for those trips because people are ready to spend.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Dr. Jones, like, so you're leaving for Italy this week. What kind of trip is that? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so just like business travel stopped for a little while, the University of New Haven has several study abroad programs, but we work with some companies that have sites in different locations. And so we work with a company called CEA, and we're the University of Record. So we do, hire their faculty or we review their faculty and we look at all their classes that they're offering.
Wow.
So once a year, we do a site visit at different locations. So I'll be doing a site visit in Rome, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so great. How long will you be there?
I'm going to be there for a week. So I actually fly out
Wow.
tomorrow. Yeah.
That's so
Fingers
great.
crossed.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Direct flight.
Oh, great. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Excited.
Rome is so fantastic.
It
That's
is.
so great. So, also for our industry, a big area is business travel. And we're finding, the shows we've just had for our company, attendance has been really great. It's been up, year over year since 2020, of course. But I'm curious, and Dr. Jones will continue with you, is business travel back? And do you think it'll return to pre-COVID volumes? I mean, I know like, budgets have changed, the way that companies, the number of people that they send, their strategy around these in-person events has changed. Sustainability is another big one too. Like if they have certain sustainability standards, they're very conscious of how many people they're sending on these big jets, and how much carbon pollution that creates and all that kind of stuff. But are you seeing, like, as far as commercial business travel, is it returning? Do you think it'll get back to pre-COVID levels with those things in mind?
Yeah, I think what's kind of interesting since COVID is we see actually kind of like new types of business travel, right? Or what, I don't actually love this term, but bleisure, so you're seeing maybe longer trips where it used to be they'd go for a day or 2 days and come back. It seems like, okay, they're going to go for a week and they work remotely. So they're going to stay in that location and maybe work in that location for 1 or 2 weeks. So we've seen some actually cool like changes in how people are traveling, especially that quick overnight trip has become a little more cumbersome, just given some of the challenges with airlines. So I definitely, the people that I've talked to companies, they seem to be adjusting how they're doing their business trips. Some companies have gone back to, this is it. We need to get back to sending people out. Zoom is not it. We need to actually be in person for some of these meetings. And I am hearing that. I would say from the hotel side, I have heard some of the smaller hotels seem to be struggling a little bit with the return of business travel. People seem to be changing somehow the way where they're staying and how they're staying. So I have heard a little bit about that. That could just be more regional here in Connecticut. Some of the hotels are smaller and we don't have the larger events.
Right.
Because I do feel like those big conferences are coming back.
Yep.
And the last thing I would just say is I love that you mentioned sustainability. My students are actually, I'm teaching a class this semester on global tourism.
Wow.
Sustainability. And
Great.
it's interesting to teach it because I have to change everything. Everything that I taught before 2020 is completely 100% different now, in the sense that we don't really have a sense of, what industry is doing to get back on track. So we all have this like new heightened awareness of needing to, be conscious of sustainability, but I don't think we have kind of the new policies and regulations in place for destinations that are kind of trying to revive. So some companies are just desperate to get people back. And so the last thing on their mind is sustainability, but they know they have to care about it. So it's a really interesting time to study it and to talk about it. But the good news is it's on young people's minds, which is cool.
Yeah.
Something they're
Agreed.
like, wait a minute, we can't just, ruin, it makes sense to me, river cruises and things like that, because I do feel like people are identifying kind of more outdoor nature types of travel that minimize their impact, and regional travel for that reason too.
Interesting. Yeah. Ellen, do you find the same? And are you noticing that business travel is returning? But like Dr. Jones is saying, there are I think, pretty permanent changes that have taken place in the past few years as well.
There has been, yeah, I
Yeah.
think for business travel, I don't book a lot of business travel, but of course I know a lot of people that travel for business.
Hmm.
And it is coming back because it is important that people meet face to face. There's things that you can't necessarily do on Zoom that,
Yep.
you need that handshake, you need that like kind of camaraderie that
Yep.
comes along with meeting in person. So I think it's coming back. I don't know if it'll ever come back full swing like it was prior to COVID.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's going to be different. Um, as far as and that's business. With leisure travel, when you were talking about the sustainability, that's
Hmm.
huge now. It really
Hmm.
is. And one thing that I've noticed, um, especially with the cruise lines, they're all about sustainability now. They're making
Really?
all they've come a great way in making changes to how they impact the different ports,
Wow.
the oceans that they're sailing on. Even on board the ships. I was on the Norwegian Prima, and
Hmm.
actually have a sustainability bar. It was really interesting.
Really?
Yes, it was
Really?
very
What was
That's
that
interesting.
great.
like?
It was interesting. The drinks that they served were all about, they came from regions, all their ingredients were sustainable.
Wow.
I don't have all the details. I should have, written that down, but all the drinks that they used things from around the ship, so
Mhm.
that there wasn't a lot of waste.
Really?
It sounded at first, I'm like, I don't know, like they use like day old bread for some of the like croissants. There was a drink with day old croissants, and it sounded, I'm like, of course I have to try it. I'm like, this
Right.
is delicious. And it's not what you think. Like
Wow.
it was very interesting. All of the alcohol that was in it came from countries that were all about sustainability. And yeah,
Wow.
great. And all the cruise lines are starting to do that sort of thing.
Wow.
And especially the younger generation is just grabbing onto that.
Yep.
I think the older generation, we all know that it's important, but
Mhm.
we're set in our ways, and it's
Right, right.
hard to make those changes sometimes. So
Interesting.
yeah, and that's the interesting thing about being in the travel industry, though, is that
Mm.
I learn a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Love to hear that. Fantastic. So, and Ellen, let's continue with you. You had mentioned this a few minutes ago about kind of, what travelers should expect in the coming months. It sounds like patience is still a thing that people, may have to manage your expectations, especially when it comes to the airport.
Yes.
So what would you give like advice for a traveler who's, planning a big trip in 2023? What would you say like you should expect, as a traveler, whether it's leisure or business?
Either way, expect you need to be flexible.
Yeah.
There may be glitches along the way. Just be prepared for those things. Like I tell everybody, especially, we mentioned about lost luggage. Bring a little backpack with some clothes for some things that you need for
Yep.
a day or two.
Yep.
You can easily, roll up some things and put them in a backpack just in case you do have to wait for your luggage to arrive.
Hmm.
Doesn't happen all the time, but it's just really kind of about being prepared for those things that can happen.
Yep.
And go with the flow. I mean, there's no reason why. I kind of equate it. I tell people it's just like when you're traveling and it's bad weather, make the best of it. There's other things to do. You'll survive. You'll survive it.
Hmm.
Just yeah, I let people know. Even I have a lot of clients that go to Disney. I tell them,
Yeah.
be prepared. Some of the rides are closed. I know people
Yeah.
that work there. So, but everybody comes back. They had a great time. But I think it's important to set your expectations
Right.
before you travel.
Mhm.
Fantastic. And Dr. Jones, how about you? What would you say for expectations among travelers?
Yeah, definitely have to expect, some changes even in the locations, maybe places you haven't been for a while. When you get there, it may look different in terms of what's open and what's available,
Yeah.
and doing your research before to know that.
Yeah.
So that
Yep.
expectation can,
Right.
you can already kind of know that. And, travel agents are so great because they can tell you all those details before you go.
Hmm.
But, yeah, I love the backpack idea. I think that having,
Yeah.
some extra, my mom oddly used to tell me that when I was very young. Anytime I traveled, you always have a
Yep.
backup plan, but
Yep.
snacks. And I know sometimes people
Yes.
don't think about that. So it's, you might get in transit longer and not have availability for some kind of restaurants or things open in the airport late or things like that.
Yeah.
So definitely any little items that you need, backup battery packs, those
Mhm.
are also really important. So
Mhm.
yeah, I just think planning ahead and lowering your expectations in terms of it being exactly the same as what it was before,
Mhm.
I
Yep.
think is important.
Yeah, and actually continuing that, kind of as travel experts, your must-have travel items, which are fantastic items for people in our industry to sell to, companies in this industry. I think, a big one, like you're saying, is a rollable backpack that
Mhm.
people can just like stuff in their luggage, and this can be used like either, going to your destination if you have checked luggage, or coming home just in case. I know cruise lines, like they'll usually take your luggage, so you need like an overnight bag that last night, right? So
Mhm.
that's a great opportunity as well. But what are kind of like, let's continue with you, Dr. Jones. What are your must-have travel items?
Yeah, so I actually just got a new backpack I'm super excited about that has a little more room in it, but it has the ability to put in my backpack charger. So I
Yeah.
have a really a good quality one for that because I do
Mhm.
a lot with my computer and my
Yep.
phone. So, you really have to research like what kind you need.
Mhm.
I always travel, like Ellen said, with some backup clothes.
Yeah.
Just who knows, something even light,
Yep.
just a couple of things, quick change that you might need,
Mhm.
toothbrush, all that kind of,
Mhm.
I always have my toiletries with me because
Yes.
even though it's
Yes.
a pain to get them in and out, it's like, no, that is worth it to me.
Exactly.
And then snacks is a really big thing for me.
Mhm.
Like I said, some healthy stuff,
Yeah.
that you
Mhm.
can just, if you really need something quick. Trying to think of what else. Oh, chargers, for
Yes.
different
Yes.
countries. Yeah, for some reason
Oh,
people forget those, right? So
yes.
yes,
Mhm.
like for example, Italy, two-prong and three-prong.
Yep.
So you have to kind of know the locations you're going to.
That's
And
right.
yeah, those are actually the big things for me, just making sure that I have, if in a heartbeat I have to stay somewhere longer and I don't have access to my suitcase, what are those kind of quick need to, obviously things like medications and stuff like that
Yep.
is you want to have right on you as well.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. And Ellen, how about you? What are your must-haves on your trips?
Well, definitely, again, the chargers, that's important. That's become really important lately. Um,
Mhm.
and well, for what I recommend for people that are cruising, is magnetic hooks for inside their cabin. Sometimes
Oh,
there's not enough hooks.
Oh,
So
good to
I
know.
give,
great idea.
yeah, so that's something for, for the suppliers out there. Um,
Yes.
Like
Great
that.
I
idea.
would love to find some supplier that does branded um
Yeah,
magnetic hooks would be awesome.
Yes.
I love it.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's one of my biggies, but definitely the
Yeah.
charger.
Yep.
And I also I think a nice thing is as a travel journal to bring along, and
Yes.
Yeah.
it's
I
surprising how much
agree.
you forget when you get back from your trip. You think you'll remember it all. And so a travel journal so that you can
I
write
love
like every
that.
day, just at the end of the day, write down a little bit of what you did, what you liked the best about it, what you didn't like about it.
I love
Yep.
that.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I always like, I know this is kind of like one of those like mom always told me to. I use so many luggage tags. I put them on every bag. I
Oh
Yes.
put them on
yes.
my like, because you
Yes.
never know. Like it's not just my checked luggage, it's everything. And sometimes you have to check your carry-on. It's taken care of. Your
Yeah.
luggage tag is, and that's an easy item that suppliers can
Oh sure.
right, they
Yeah.
can source that for
Yeah.
distributors very easily. And I love like packing cubes. That's kind of a
Packing
new thing
cubes
for
are
Yes.
me.
awesome.
Yes.
Packing
That is
cube.
I
like, I mean, if you can flatten and get as much into that carry-on as possible, it's
Yes, I use
amazing.
packing cubes all the time. I actually
Yes.
give those
Yes.
to clients. I
I love
actually
Oh,
that.
supply those sometimes to some of my
fantastic.
clients. Also luggage bands, because people like
Yes.
they're trying to like stuff
Mhm.
as much as they can in that piece of luggage.
That's true.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yep.
Or another thing is I give people quite often, or I recommend that they get luggage scales. They're really
Yes.
Yes.
expensive, and you'd be surprised at how you get to the
Mhm.
airport and you don't think your luggage is as heavy as it is. And
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I've seen people opening up their luggage and
On the
switching and
floor.
throwing in a backpack. So
Yep.
yeah.
I know.
Yep,
We'll
I've seen
get
I
that
know.
happen.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
Well, thank you, ladies. I really appreciate your time today. Dr. Jones, just
Yeah.
congratulations on your trip coming up.
Thank
Good luck with
you.
that.
Safe
Fantastic.
travels.
Yeah, safe
Thank you so
travels.
much. I'm like so excited. I'm trying to take a picture of us because like I love this team, but I just thank you so much. And I'm really like excited to get out into the world again. And
Yep.
yeah, we just have to be patient and hope for things to just keep coming back, which is amazing.
I'd love to
Yes.
hear about your trip when you get back.
Yes, keep in touch with
Yes.
me. Yeah, we'll have to do a
absolutely.
follow-up.
For sure. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, listeners, for
Thanks.
listening, and have a
Yeah.
great day. Thank
You
you.
too,
You too. Bye
guys.
now.
Bye.